What is unfolding in Iran is not chaos. It is not confusion, and it is not the result of spontaneous clashes. According to multiple Iran international sources close to the highest levels of power inside Iran, the nationwide killings during the latest protests were carried out on the direct order of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, with the explicit knowledge and approval of all three branches of government. Information obtained from the Supreme National Security Council and the Presidential Office indicates that an order for live fire was issued at the national level. The forces primarily responsible, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Basij militia. What followed was a coordinated operation, fully organized, centrally directed, and unprecedented in Iran's modern history. Over just 2 consecutive nights, January 8th and 9th, at least 12,000 people were killed. Many of those killed were young people under the age of 30. These findings were not reached lightly. They are the result of a multi-stage review of evidence gathered from sources close to the Supreme National Security Council, senior officials inside the Presidential Office, accounts from within the IRGC in Mashhad, Kermanshah, and Esfahan, as well as eyewitness testimony, family accounts, field reporting, hospital data, and information from doctors and nurses across multiple cities. At the same time, Iran has descended into a coordinated blackout. Internet access cut, communications crippled, media outlets shut down. Hundreds of newspapers, national and local, have fallen silent. Aside from state broadcasting, only a handful of tightly controlled outlets remain active. This is not crisis management. According to Iran International's editorial board, it is an attempt to conceal a historic crime. Security institutions themselves initially estimate that at least 12,000 people were killed, a figure that may change as documentation continues, but one already staggering in scale. Iran International has now issued a global call for evidence, urging Iranians inside and outside the country to submit videos, photographs, medical records, testimonies, and documentation with strict protection of sources and confidentiality, because they say this massacre will not be buried in silence. The Islamic Republic may cut Iran off from the world, but it cannot erase the dead. Their names will be recorded, their stories preserved, and their deaths will stand as part of Iran's national reckoning.
The peaceful protests of my people were underway, and just as the negotiation table had been bombed this time, our streets themselves were bombarded. We witnessed the arrival of terrorist cells and groups, which naturally prompted security forces to step in and get involved. And it is obvious that the people, especially the protesters, clearly distinguish themselves and their cause from these terrorists. We are absolutely and unequivocally open to listening to the concerns of our people. Our ears are open to hearing the points raised by the protesters and to actively working on solving the complex issues that have undoubtedly stemmed from the negligence and shortcomings of all previous governments, not solely the current administration. And our entire focus and dedicated effort is directed towards achieving this very goal. No foreign entity can dictate Iran's destiny. And naturally, the fate of any outsider who attempts to interfere in Iran's internal affairs should serve as a warning, reflecting the destiny of others who have tried. According to the foreign minister's statement, both negotiation and the option of war are currently on Iran's agenda. However, Iran is ready for dialogue, for negotiations, provided the preconditions are fair and not dictated, and naturally, if this process is to take shape, it will proceed with the considerations our colleagues in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have.
All those who were harmed are our children, and naturally, with the exception of a few terrorist groups whose reckoning is with the people yesterday clearly showed how they will decisively deal with these terrorists. terrorists who are openly supported by Trump and the regime's prime minister clearly declared that they back these groups. And it was these very groups who brutally turned our people's peaceful protests into a bloody massacre. The principle of free and secure access for the public to information and the internet is a fundamental principle for the 14th government, and it holds it in high regard. The recent restrictions are not the government's preferred decision or policy, but naturally, as the Ministry of Communications and Information Technology has announced, this is a decision by security institutions stemming from the current security conditions, and naturally, we consider it the right of the people to have free access to information, and we hope that we can witness this right realized as soon as possible.
Iran has always been ready for negotiations, and if a pause with its own specific preconditions, it pause for a fair negotiation that is not dictated by any external party oppose. According to the foreign minister's statements, according to pause, it is prepared and has done this previously. Pause and the dichotomy of war and negotiation is a dichotomy that they are constantly fanning the flames. And of course, we are fully prepared for either outcome. We sincerely hope that no war ever breaks out anywhere in the world, especially not in our beloved Iran.